Welcome to Exponential Opportunities, where we deliver smart business growth advice from the best hustlers around. I'm Jason Tropf, and today I have on the program Mike Hardenbrook. Mike is a mentor at Techstars Startup Accelerator, which has an amazing global network, including Disney, that boasts having the top 1% of entrepreneurs around the world. Mike's companies can be found on Forbes, TechCrunch, and Inc. magazine. He's the co-founder of Growth Geeks, Knowledge Lead, Growth Hacker TV, Dental Destination, and he's a mentor at the accelerator program at Baylor University. Mike specializes in business development and has helped over 100 companies take their business to the next level. So what's your best advice from your viewpoint at a startup accelerator? What would you do to grow your business as a small business owner?
Most things aren't or shouldn't be complicated. So you just have to focus on the three things: leads, messaging, and deliverability and tracking.
To get their attention, what would be your method of doing it?
Going back to your question, is I would find one segment in the market, get a really high-touch message together, start manually reaching out. If you get some traction, spend a little bit more time on that email, add some more emails in the sequence, get some more leads, keep going at it, and then as you get that, go to the next segment, go to the next segment. I mean, it's like lining up bowling pins. You know, you got the one down, knock the next one over, and the next one. So,
how do you apply that stuff?
I would say number one is focus on your customer and adding value to them. Number two would be probably know your customer so well that you know where they hang out online, if that's where you're reaching them. What kind of books do they read? Who are they following? What does their day look like? What's the most important thing to them in their job? Are they reporting to somebody that they need to look good to them? Are they trying to hustle just like you to make extra money? Is saving time more interesting to them? So just focus in on who they are and like what that burning desire is, and make sure that you can purpose yourself with as much benefit in their way without just talking about yourself, so that they can understand what you do.
I think I'm looking for the strategy and the tactics and the quick 3-step guide to whatever. You know what I mean? Like your real tactic. What would you do?
So the 3 pillars of cold emailing is: 1, your lead sources. So are they quality leads, and can you get a good amount of them? 2 is your messaging. So you're going to have your messaging and sequencing set up so that 1, it resonates with them. 2, it goes out in a cadence that makes sense, which is, your follow-ups are spaced and adequately written. And then 3 would be automating, tracking, and delivery of those messages.
All right, so it sounds like you're calling them and emailing regardless of any sort of metrics. You're going to call them all and you're going to email them all. Period. Exactly.
You sort of preface with an email. If you don't get a response, let's say the next day or 2 days later, you try and call and get them on the phone. If they don't answer the phone, I generally don't recommend leaving a message on the first time. So send your second email if they don't answer. Then if they don't answer your email, call a third time at a specific day, maybe 2 days, 3 days later. Try and get them on the phone. If they don't answer, leave a message. So that's the way you sort of stagger in between.
It can get confusing, to know when to keep calling and when to stop calling. And if you're doing a ton of outbound cold calls and you're not really, and you're getting less than 1% response, you're getting a hold of people barely ever. Maybe you drive.
Yeah.
If you're geographically close, you can probably drive there, but sometimes it's hard to find them in there too. It's just, I was wondering if you had a method that worked better than those.
Keep going until you get a no.
Yeah.
Because there's always a timing issue, or it's been a no, and you just keep popping up, and then eventually they're like, you know what, I did not need that, and this.
Right.
There's always a reason why somebody might need you that didn't need you yesterday. So, or just wasn't able to respond. I mean, I'll look at things while I'm at the checkout counter, and I'm like, that looks interesting, but I don't have time to respond because I'm next, or whatever. You just never know.
So you have I took your email course, by the way, your cold emailing course, which is what prompted me to get a hold of you. I thought it was great. We paid for, copywriters to write emails, and then when I took your course, that was so much better to me that I just thought it was great to get your input and see what you would do for your complete sales process.
Just get one good email together and start emailing those people and see if you can get any traction at all. Just start talking to them, see if you can engage with them, see if you can get them on the phone. And if you start seeing something, right, even if you get one client out of that week, then you're like, okay, let me see if I can make this email a little bit better, a little bit shorter, maybe a little bit more beneficial, and do it the exact same thing the next week, except for maybe add 50% more people to your list, and start doing the same thing. And if you can get traction that way, then I would start thinking, all right, I got something here. Sort of a two-pronged approach, which would be, one, how many leads and how much it's going to cost you to get. Just figure that out, and maybe just do that full segment. Like, all right, I'm going to just do all the spas, and then get your messaging right and start adding follow-on sequences. Because if you're going to start collecting leads and you've already identified the fact that they're responding to emails, now it's time to optimize the fact that, hey, not everybody's going to respond to your first email, and get at least a month in there of sequencing, which could be like just 5 emails. And they could be super short. Just add a little, like, another benefit and ask for a call on the next one. And then 5 days later, the next one. And then, you took the course, you put a nice, very simple cadence together. And you can even, there are lots of free tools that you can use and very user-friendly to start delivering this stuff. So I would say identify 1 or 2 channels that you think are going to work for you and stick with it long enough to know if it does or doesn't. Because, and that sounds simple, but people just run around chasing shiny objects because they saw a new offer that seems really neat, and then, they don't do anything with it. So I would pick 1 or 2 channels that make sense for your business, focus on it, give it some real attention, see if it works. If it doesn't, move to the next one, but actually wholeheartedly do it. And I don't mean wholeheartedly go spend 10 grand and try and do it, but certainly give it more of a test. Let's say in the cold email, if you sent a couple emails and nobody responded to you, then tweak it. Try doing something else. And in the spa example, if none of the spas were responding, go to something else. Go to one of the other industries because you might be able to grab that whole market from the next business over. Maybe spas don't, but massage parlors do, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just
would you send? Yeah, go ahead. No, wait. I was gonna ask. Do you ever send HTML emails? So it has pictures, graphics in it, or do you always just do plain text?
I always do plain text. There's a couple reasons why you wouldn't want to do that. One, you should write an email like a person writing a person. So it shouldn't be. These are not marketing images. These are not marketing emails. These are sales emails. And to sell, you don't want to seem like you're selling, right? So you should seem like a real person that's interested in helping them. And if you have a good solution, then you are, and you shouldn't be shy about reaching out to them and connecting with them and talking to them, because what you have is valuable, and you know that once you get them on the call and explain what it is, they're going to want to buy it. So you shouldn't be shy about it. You should be very personable. If I was going to write you after this interview, do you think it would be weird if I wrote you a thank you with all caps and bolded it, underlined, and then threw a little image under it? It'd be a little weird. And so you should always just talk to people like that. You know what I mean? I think how you would talk to your colleague, or if you're going to fire off an email to somebody that you know, you wouldn't do all those weird things that you try to do in marketing emails. So I would tell you to get away from that. The other reason, real quick, is also HTML tends to hurt your deliverability of emails. They tend to get filtered into different folders or even spam. So if not the first reason, the second reason.
Yeah.